Hello guys, today I want to talk to you about fear of intimacy, and it is something that I used to struggle a lot with. I googled it, and the Wikipedia interpretation of fear of intimacy states that it is a form of social phobia or an anxiety disorder that results in difficulties forming close relationships or opening up to people. So basically what I suffered with was I didn't want the people to see the real me, because I was pretty sure that I am super unlovable, and if people see me for who I really am, or if I share my secrets or fears or imperfections, then people will just leave me, and I needed to be perfect at all times, so I didn't let anyone in, just put a fake smile on my face and go on with my life while I was actually slowly dying inside, which I do not recommend doing. And if you know that you suffer with fear of intimacy and you want to change it, then continue watching this video, because I have some tips at the end of it. And also, if you are with someone who fears intimacy and doesn't let you in, I also have some tips for that too, so stick with me and I will let you in a little bit about what causes it and how to maybe deal with it if you want. First of all, I think that one of the causes of the fear of intimacy can be low self-esteem, which can stem from traumatic childhood, or maybe some abandonment issues, or if your emotions weren't validated by your parents, because if you had a parent who only validated your good emotions and never allowed you to cry or show fear or anxiety, then you maybe developed this avoidant attachment type. That I actually have a video about attachment theory and the types of attachment. I will link it out below. Yeah, a lot of the times people who fear intimacy are types dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant. I think that it is very sad, because being open and just being vulnerable and opening up to people brings you great joy. Yes, it also brings a risk of being hurt, but in my experience, I never regretted being vulnerable and talking about my fears and anxieties and just the things that bring me uncomfortable emotions. I was incapable of that before, and I was really working on it the last year, and I'm still working on it. And I can tell you that it just enriches your life so much, and it deepens your relationships, and it is just really, really awesome. And I recommend you trying that if you have never tried it before. Besides childhood experiences, I think that fear of intimacy can also stem from a trauma in your previous relationships. So if you were like cheated on, or if your ex dumped you in a really bad way, that might also kind of scare you off being in a relationship or create trust issues or intimacy issues. Fear of intimacy can take a form of not being in a relationship altogether. So if you are like dating a person for 2 weeks and then dumping them and then moving on, never actually really establishing an emotional connection, which I used to do in my younger years, it just shows that you don't want to go deeper, and you don't want to share your vulnerabilities and your true colors and your true emotions with other people, and so you choose to just disregard the feelings of other people and not get involved into a deeper, more meaningful relationship. Another form of fear of intimacy is being in a relationship but freezing off or avoiding talking about deeper stuff, or just, you know, like running away when you feel uncomfortable or anxious, or that your feelings might get hurt, or that you feel too strongly. And it can be very frustrating for your partner, and it can compromise your entire relationship. Fear of intimacy can also express itself in friendships. So if you have like friends who you spend time with, but you are not really open with them, and they don't really know anything about you, or they don't know the real you, then maybe you also suffer some form of fear of intimacy. So the people who are those like fearful avoidant or dismissive avoidant attachers are usually quite popular in society. They can have tons of friends, they can go to parties, and they can be overachievers, they can be well-known people, or they can be really good at their careers because they put their careers in front of their relationships, or they use it as a means to escape kind of themselves and their own feelings, and sharing and exploring their feelings with someone else. And I came to believe that actually exploring yourself with the help of someone is way more fruitful, because when you are just by yourself, it's awesome and you should spend time by yourself and explore yourself. But when you are with someone who kind of helps you get an insight of yourself and themselves, and you kind of mutually grow and you support each other in this growth process, I think that it's really awesome if you have a person like this or several people like this, because when you can reflect on yourself and the other person, the opinion from the side might be really valuable. So I would consider doing that if I were you. I'm like trying to lure you into meaningful relationship, I now just realized, but really it is really awesome to kind of go deeper with your connections with other people. And yeah. The last thing that I wanted to say before we get into tips is that it might be difficult for those people to read emotional cues from other people, so they might not be very good at intuition, or at least understanding what other people are all about. So now, most likely, if you do have intimacy issues, or if you are a dismissive avoidant person, most likely you won't want to work on your relationships, because you created this kind of a wall around yourself that protects you, and you don't let anyone in, and you think that you're so cool and that no one can actually harm you and that you don't need anyone, which, I mean, can be true, and I respect your point of view, but as a person who used to be like this and then changed, I can tell you that I was missing out on so much. And if you just give it a chance and open up to someone, then it might really change your life. So some tips to overcome this fear of intimacy are psychotherapy. So maybe cognitive behavioral therapy can change your beliefs around being heard and being accepted, even when your feelings are not comfortable for other people. And it helps a great deal, but what I notice in other people is that they tend to think that you go to a therapist once and it's supposed to already cure you magically. It doesn't happen like that. If you go to therapy, you have to commit to go for 1 year or half a year. It depends on your problem, but it will not take just one visit to a therapist, trust me. Another tip is to practice reading other people's emotions. So you need to kind of find a confidant in this, and find a person who you really know very well or you can trust, and just try to ask them if you think that they are feeling something. Ask them, is this what you're feeling right now? Like, am I right? Am I reading you right? And then they can kind of help you improve your emotional wisdom and your like emotional intuition when talking to other people. Learn to listen and accept when other people express their bad feelings about you. And I know that it is extremely hard, and you want to like jump on defense and start blaming and like guilt tripping and avoiding this at any cost, but just try to stand there and listen to what other person has to say without blaming them, or without saying like, yeah, I understand, but, because this but always comes in the end. I know it for myself. If you just learn to accept that other people can be disappointed or unhappy with you, it helps a great deal. Learn to express your own emotions. Well, you need to first know what you're feeling. So if you are honest with yourself and you know that, for example, your anger is a secondary emotion and you're just trying to cover up the anxiety that was caused by a question or a conversation that your, for example, partner or friend started with you, then maybe if you know that you are anxious, you don't just yell at them or like run away. You just say, this makes me really uncomfortable. I'm anxious around this topic, so maybe you can help me, or what can we do about it? And just try to be honest about what you're feeling right now, and don't freeze other people off, because people are really cool and they're really kind, and most of the people will try to kind of walk in your shoes and understand you. The last thing, I didn't even want to put it here because it's like I'm not in the place to tell you what to do with your life, but try putting your relationships in front of your job, for example, and not like hiding in your hobby or your career or something, because relationships are important and arguably are the most important thing in our lives, because in the end of your life you will not regret not spending too much time in your office. You will regret not having kids, not having a meaningful connection, not having found the love of your life, not being too open to other people. I'm telling you, relationships are the most important things in life, and I also just came to this realization not too long ago, sadly, and I think that my life could have been very different if I realized that before. But it's never too late to change, and you can work on this. And if you put enough effort into your relationships, and if you try to work on yourself and help your partner or friends work on themselves too, you might be surprised by the amazing results that you get. And now, if you are with someone who suffers from fear of intimacy, and if you want to help them, these are some tips for you. First of all, try to create a really loving, understanding, and non-judgmental atmosphere at home. I know that it can be extremely hard because people who are defensive about their feelings can be really hurtful, and they can be angry, they can yell at you, they can freeze you off, and it can make you frustrated. But you have to be really patient and loving and show them love and understanding, and repeat over and over and over that it is a safe place for them to express their emotions, that you will still be there for them. You are not going to abandon them if they show something bad that they feel about you or about the situation or whatever. Ask them constantly, what are you feeling? If you feel that they are kind of freezing off or trying to run away or whatever, just ask them, what are you feeling? Because it can trigger a conversation that may allow you to kind of look deeper into them. Remember that they are just scared of strong negative emotions, so they are really like children, and you need to exercise your temper a lot, because it can be really frustrating and it can really sadden you or even make you angry. But try to remember that they are just scared, and you want to support and love them and kind of help them heal this. Just be your most patient self as you can be, although I know that it's way easier said than done. If they run from you when the situation kind of heats up, or if the emotions are being triggered that they don't want to be triggered, don't chase them, because they are only going to run faster, and give them the space and the time they need to come back. You don't need to chase people at all. Like, if the person doesn't want to be with you, just let them be, because you cannot force anyone into anything. Please do not like create this suffocating atmosphere for these people. Do not make them share stuff that they are not ready for, but encourage the things that they share, and never judge them for sharing their emotions with you, because it will only scare them off more. Remember that it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience, and if you find that your partner is becoming more open and less anxious and less fearful of being open and vulnerable and intimate with you, it is really rewarding, and I think that then you will kind of praise yourself and realize what you were doing all of this for. So I wish you all nice, meaningful relationships, and finding the people who you are comfortable with and who share your emotions with you, and who help you find your true self and work on yourself and constantly improve yourself, and just put love above everything else, because it is just so cool. And love your friends and love your partners and your family, and just, you know, life is so cool, and practice it all the time. So yeah, I will finish this video here, and I thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'm not just saying it, I really do. Be nice humans, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.